Yo, what's good YouTube? It's Boardsy, and this is going to be a review of the SkyPAD XL. God, going through heaps to show you guys that SkyPAD logo. It was sent out to me, major thank you to them, but obviously doesn't affect the review. Some of you may remember I reviewed the SkyPAD 2.0 a few months ago, but honestly, that was just a bit too small. It did not have enough vertical room, so they decided to release the SkyPAD XL, which is absolutely huge. It's 370 vertically, 450 millimeters across, and it's 6 millimeters tall. So it is a very good size. This is like standard, like large or like XL non-extended mouse pad size, and it's just it's a major improvement over the SkyPad 2.0. And on the 2.0, it's an extremely fast piece of glass, which has a surprising good bit of stopping power. It's not impossible to control. I would say it definitely has more stopping power than a plastic pad like the Helios or the Akari, and this is probably the pinnacle of glass. Many people dismiss it, saying like, oh, just buy a glass cutting board. But I'm somebody who has used a glass cutting board in the past, and the quality of the cutting board, it just really doesn't feel the same on the mouse feet, because clearly this was designed to be a mouse pad. They recommend you to use it with the Teflon like tape they sell on their website. I don't know. I use mainly core pads like pure PTFE feet. Do not fucking use ceramic feet on a glass pad. Just like general word of advice. But with PTFE, you can see that it is a very fast and smooth glide. It's just kind of impressive to see how much the mouse can glide from when you put relatively no effort. There's really not much friction whatsoever on this pad. It sort of is like an air hockey rink for your mouse feet, and it is hard to control at first. And if you're used to something like a standard cloth pad, switching to a SkyPAD XL is going to feel weird as fuck. And even for me, somebody who uses faster like hybrid style pads, my first like day or two on the SkyPAD, I was a shaky mess. I didn't wind up like lowering my sense. I just figured I could get used to it. And as I played with it more, I realized that I just had to rely on my fingers touching the pad a bit more to actually gain some of that control back. Because with the mouse feet, it is just so buttery, so smooth. It is a bit harder to stop if you're not like really good at putting pressure into your mouse for stopping power. But honestly, I think one of the main appeals of a SkyPad is just the quality and durability. This is a literal fucking hunk of glass. The feet are really good. Like this thing, I don't know. Oh shit, my ring light fell. I mean, I'm telling you, like I cannot get it to move on my desk regardless of what I do. And obviously it's a piece of metal. I recommend you guys watch Techni's review of it. He was fucking doing some crazy shit, and this pad would not break. And I still see people who just casually talk about the pad thinking that like, oh, if it falls, it will break, or you could break it like if you fucking like have a spastic rage attack on it. And no, this piece of glass will break you mentally before you can break it physically. And now I just want to focus on one more thing that I haven't heard many people talk about. Maybe it's just affecting me more, but I am in a New York City apartment, and sometimes it gets cold as fuck. And it happened to be cold as fuck when I first got this mouse pad, and when I took it out of the box, it was literally like ice. So for the first like hour or two while it just cooled down, I couldn't use it. So I just wanted to make that known. It can be really fucking cold. Right now, it's still cool to the touch. It never gets warm, but if you do sweat on it, your hand, it'll get like muddy and sort of sticky. So you can always recommend a sleeve, but a thing with the sleeve on the SkyPad is it can have like too little friction for some people. The way a sleeve works on a piece of glass is vastly different than it does on a piece of cloth, and that really creates the fucking air hockey table experience. There's no friction on your arm, on your mouse feet. It's really cool, but it's by no means something like I recommend everybody go for. Next time I talk about is the price, and this is on pre-order to ship out in early March for like 74 euros, which I think is around 80 USD. And I think it's also available on Lethal in NA for 100 USD if you want the XL size. And I would strongly recommend going for it over the 2.0. It's the exact same like pad as the 2.0, but the sizing, it just makes it a million times more convenient. I'd legitimately lost my 2.0, or I would show a size comparison. But if you look at the dimensions, you can see that that the XL has 70 millimeters more of vertical depth, which, like I've been saying, is borderline necessary to actually like make the most out of the pad. And that price tag is a bit high, but it's such a durable product. And it's a product you're only going to need to buy once. Like, there's no way that your SkyPad is going to fucking wear down from the PTFE feet. In fact, it's going to be the opposite. Your feet are going to get worn down extremely quickly. And if you main a hard pad, you're going to be depressed as fuck because a lot of your income is going to be going to mouse feet. But that is just a risk you take when you receive a mouse pad that can be cleaned like a plate. I really like that. You can just go take your mouse pad to the kitchen, wash it off, and then boom, it's like new. Another problem with hard pads is if there's like any dust, hair, you're gonna feel that on your mouse feet. And it's not just like you feel it and you're like, oh, that's there. It's like a scratch, and it's like a really bad scratch that you just want to get rid of. So if it happens when you're in the middle of a game, you're probably gonna like pick up your mouse, try to wipe it off, and then you can die. And if you die in game because of that, it's clearly the mouse pad's fault. And I haven't died much in game because of this, but I have had situations where I'm just swiping around my mouse and I find a random piece of dust. It takes me multiple moments to locate it, and then at that point I'm just extremely enraged. And I tried to take the mouse pad off, just swap it off because I'm mad at it, but it's just stuck down so well to my desk, there's not much I can do about it. It's really just such a puzzling situation. I'm like forced to main this mouse pad just because I cannot physically remove it from my desk. But hard pads, they're still like a cool niche sort of. There's some people who are extremely hard pad pilled, and good for you, man, if you are. They're just having like no difference between the X and Y axis. It's basically just like, imagine your like desk surface just being like really optimized. That's basically what I consider a SkyPad to be. And it just truly is a unique experience, and I understand a lot of people who are addicted to peripherals really aren't feeling much outside of the temporary dopamine we get from the new products. And this is a product you can get that can really, I don't know, it's just like good bang for the buck on the amount of experience you get out of one product. And this is another product like the Viper 8K Hertz, where for gaming, you should only be getting it if you enjoy just trying cool peripherals and shit and want to get that new experience as basically just fully speed, but that also like stops it from getting the Boardsy seal of approval, because this isn't a pad that I can recommend to anybody. Basically like half of the people who use mouse pads have never tried anything even remotely close, probably way more than half, but it is also an extremely versatile product. You could go as far as to say that every American who owns a SkyPad, or I guess every person, not just Americans. Why would we limit it to Americans? Every person who owns a SkyPad should advertise on their front door that they own a SkyPad, and that would fucking fend off intruders better than any other device, because it's probably bulletproof as well. Most glass tends to be bulletproof, so you could use it like a fucking shield. You would be a force to be reckoned with in the situation your house got invaded if you own a SkyPad. But like I said, that would never happen, as you could just advertise your SkyPad and nobody would even think to invade you. But yeah, is the video at 8 minutes yet? But yeah, that's gonna be all for this video. The SkyPad's pretty sick. I'm really happy that they made the XL variant, and yeah, make sure to leave a like and sub. Peace.